Heritage Month in South Africa in September is a month-long national celebration of the rich cultural heritage and history of the nation. And while the concept of heritage in and around South Africa is broad and multifaceted and has multiple dimensions, the expressions thereof are seen through various influences such as religion, traditions, our customs, as well as in art, architecture, language, cuisine and music. And all of this is important to South Africa's economic growth and social development. Now, these are sentiments found in Professor Musa Xulu's discussion paper. The Ethnomusicologist joins us this morning to unpack further. Prof Musa, good morning and thank you for joining us on the SABC at this hour.
Good morning, Lizzie, and good morning to your viewers.
Prof, perhaps you could just speak to the scope and the structure, really in trying to understand heritage in South Africa's context, the different types as well. What comes to mind?
Well, what comes to mind is that in 1994-95, when the whole idea of having September as a Heritage Month, and also later it became also Tourism Month, so both of them are related and they're together. It was to create a month when South Africans would be able to celebrate their diversities. You remember we came with different ships from different parts of the world, many from here on the continent, but also many others from the east and others from the west and others and some from the north. And to create this new nation building, South Africanism, a month had to be dedicated to acknowledging the diversity, but also accept that we are a unique nation with these many diversities. Now, heritage is what we inherit through heritageization from the past. We don't take everything from the past and make it alive today. We take those things that would suit the circumstances of today. That's human nature. The things that are comfortable, that's human nature. The things that make us to have a clear identity, and that is human nature. And in the process, what has happened is that fellow South Africans have become very much attached to their heritage. As you said in your opening, the expressions are wide: fashion, music, dance, traditions, literature, and then of course there is issue of storage. Where do you store it? And how do you express it? The easiest is that we start with events. Like you've seen lots of heritage events this Heritage Month. Yesterday was big with the Zulu traditional umkhosi umhlanga. Also in the Eastern Cape, the Amampondo, even saying now they want Simpondo language to be recognized as one of the official languages. And there were others in Limpopo and all over the country. People remembering their past, but also making it relevant to today. That is the first way and the easiest, yes.
And so, Prof, I mean, there must be a value chain as well in relation to all these different expressions. The economic aspects also come to the fore, development as well. And so perhaps you could speak to the links of tourism and heritage, heritage economics as you've dubbed it.
Oh, yes. No, tourism gets attracted to spectacular events. So you'll find that, for example, lots of people go to these events, and others also, you must remember there is natural and cultural heritage. Some are attracted to places like St. Lucia, Drakensberg, or whatever during this month, as it is the beginning of a new season and summer is coming. So they just want to go there and gaze and maybe enjoy themselves. And then the issue, then that's where they start paying. There are transactions, and that is where the issues of heritage economics comes in. Firstly, through tourism, cultural heritage tourism or natural heritage tourism, and then secondly, and this is the easiest, but sometimes we miss it. If you go to Europe, you'll find that the old buildings, some of them 2,000 years old, maybe in the Middle East, 2,000 years old, and others, they get restored from time to time. And this is so that they can attract tourists who want to come. If you go to Israel, they'll tell you Jesus Christ, the cross was here and everything was here and so on and so on. So it attracts tourists. And then the second thing, of course, is about urban regeneration. Urban regeneration, if you go to many cities around the world, the old buildings in the city center, they get restored and repurposed for human settlements. And you'll find that whether you're in Belgium or New York, young people usually live in the city center in the older buildings, which the municipality has restored. And how it
Yes.
happens is that families sometimes they donate these buildings to the municipalities. Then they become assets, which the municipalities can use, for example, to go and borrow money. So it's the tourism, it's also the human settlements, and then of course there is a lot of private investments in hotels, in the restoration of buildings, in the restoration of the brownfields in the city centers, and creating new, if you go to Durban, for example, the Point district used to be very vibrant. Now it's known for violence and crime and everything.
Prof,
A municipality like Durban.
Prof,
Yes.
let me come in there just for the interest of time, because on the back of that, from heritage economics, I also want to look at liberation heritage. I mean, for South Africa, Heritage Month 2024, at least, we're celebrating the lives of heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for freedom. And so this involves repatriation, restitution, as well as per the policy passed by Cabinet back in 2021. I mean, we've seen stalwarts such as Pravin Gordhan, for example, having passed away this week, having contributed to that story at large. Talk to us about the significance thereof, but also the costs involved, just on the back of economics, heritage economics as well.
Well, it's very important. Thank you very much. And I extend my condolences to the Gordhan family and his political family of the African National Congress. He was indeed an epitome of how to be in the liberation heritage. Now, liberation heritage is about the story of how we came to be where we are now as a free country. The many people who sacrificed their lives, the many families who lost relatives and fathers and mothers and everyone in the family. Now, some of them died in exile and their bodies get repatriated. I remember in 2007, there was a repatriation of the body of Moses Mapita from Mozambique to Pietermaritzburg. Government pays for those repatriations because it's part of the heritage of the country that people left their homes and they went to exile to fight the struggle for liberation. And on the 27th of April, 1994, Nelson Mandela delivered that liberation, which had been fought since 1652 and strengthened in 1912 when the ANC was formed. So you can see, and I think it should be, the liberation heritage should be part of the school curricula so that we can know where we come from and how we came to be here, and so we can value it. Because in the center of heritage is valuation. You have to value what you have before you can monetize it.
No, absolutely, Prof. And I know this conversation continues for the month of September, but hopefully it's not limited to this. I'm going to leave the conversation there for now. And thank you for joining us at this hour, Professor Musa Xulu, ethnomusicologist, exploring Heritage Month in South Africa, the importance of tourism and heritage economics, as well as liberation heritage. Again, thank you to him for joining us at this hour.